Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video, we will see how to make a database connection in our Selenium code. So sometime it happens in a project that we need to connect to a database in order to check if something has been updated or not, or sometime it's possible that there are certain values we have to get from the database and we have to check that if my expected result, if my expected value are matching with the actual one or not. Okay, so for all those kinds of scenario, we need a connection from our Selenium script to the databases. And now we will see how we can do that into Selenium. So for that, our prerequisite would be that there would be SQL installed on our server. It can be on a different machine or can be on your own local machine. So while working in a company, you might have your SQL already installed on some Linux machine and you have a client to access that. For example, you can have a SQL server on some Linux machine and you have a client like SQL Workbench to access that out. Okay, it can be a command line client or it can be a GUI like a SQL Workbench. And so we need that in order to use the databases. So let me open one website for you. So this is dev.mysql.com downloads. You can even search that into Google. Okay, please note down this website. As soon as you go into that website under the downloads, you will see a section which says MySQL on Windows. Even on the left hand side, you will see all these downloads given, and there is an option which called MySQL on Windows. Okay, under this, what you have to do, there are three main things which you need to download if you want that to set up on your computer. One is MySQL installer. Okay, it will install the SQL server, and this time you will install it on your local PC if you're working from home. If it's in your company, then it's already getting installed. Second is the MySQL connector. So this is a jar file which we need to update in our project. And this third is the MySQL Workbench. So this is a client through which we can access the MySQL server. Okay. So I have already installed all these three. For this because a jar file, I just have to keep it into my folder structure. I have to just give it into my build path, and this I have already installed. I have just keep as it is whatever it has asked me, and I've just installed the default configurations. And this also I have installed the default configuration. And once I have done that, I got two things. So one is a MySQL server, and with the MySQL server, I got this client, but this is a command line client, and this client we get with the MySQL server, but we will not use that client. What we will do, we will use this client, which is MySQL Workbench. Okay, let me just close this. Okay, so this is the client which you will get, and through this you can access the server. Okay, so in order to access the server, I am just clicking on this one. All right, so my my client is open with all the databases. So if you can see, I have three databases. So I will do a double click on this so that this world become my default database. And in that, let's say there is a table city. If I want to get all the rows of city, I will say select star from city, and then I will hit enter. From here, it will give me all the rows of this. Okay, and if I give something like select star from city, where name equal to Kabul. All right, let me just try that. Okay, so see, it has only selected one. Okay, so before we go ahead with our coding, it's a prerequisite that you should have this database, this client, MySQL Workbench, and you have also installed the MySQL server through the link I have told you. And once it gets installed, you will get another client also, which is a command prompt client. We will not be using that, but still you need the server. And third, this connector jar. Okay, Once we have that, then we have to go to our project database, and then we have to go properties, Java build path here, and then click on add external jars, and then, okay, this is one of the jar under MySQL connector what we have downloaded. This is one of the jar. You have to open this, and apart from that, you have to go to lib and you have to select all these. Okay, and you have to open this and click on apply. All right, so this is the way we have to give the jar file. Now, what we have to do, we have to give certain commands so that we can use our database. So the first command you have to remember, it's class.forName. Class.forName. Okay, so it's a bit slow right now. Yeah, class.forName. And we have to give a bracket here. And under that, we have to give a command called com.mysql.jdbc.driver. Okay, so driver is the class. Okay, so what this class.forName will do, it will create an object of this class at the runtime. So this is one of the way we can load the class during runtime. So this is bit of a Java concept. So we are trying to, create an object of this class on the runtime. Okay. And one more thing, what we have to do after we have given this class to be downloaded or to we get the object at runtime, we have to set a connection with our database. And for that, we have a command called, let me see what its error is giving me. Okay, because I have to put the jar file. Okay, so we can just move forward and then at the end we can look for all the error. And now I will call driver driver manager, okay, dot get connection. And here this is the string which I need to give to get the connection, because this is a JDBC connection and we have given a JDBC driver. So I will call JDBC colon, and we are using MySQL, so I will give MySQL colon, and then there will be a double slash. And now I have to give the name of the PC where my SQL server is. So I will give localhost, sorry, my SQL, and then I will give colon double slash, and after that it would be local host, and then I need to give my port number. Okay, so this is the port number which is very important. By default, our SQL get installed at the port number 3306. So I have given that. It can be a different one also, so you have to find it out if it's a different one. And but mostly it's on 3306, and then you have to give the table name. Okay. So this is the complete string which you have to give. So you have to give JDBC here, and then you have to give what database you are using, the MySQL, and then you have to give the server on which MySQL is there. So we'll type localhost because my server is my local computer, and I have given the port which is 3306. Okay. After that, you have to give the user ID and password. So for my database, my SQL server, I have set the username as root. So I will give as root. By default, root is the default username. And during installation, it has asked me for the password. So I have given root for for the password also. Okay. So we have set the driver manager. We have set the get connection with the driver manager. And what this driver manager do, it sets a connection with the database and it give me some connection. So it's give me a connection object. So I need to store that somewhere. So I will store that into connections. Okay, so I will type connection con equal to. All right, it's giving me some error here. Let me see what it is. It's not here. Let me go to the jar files. Maybe something wrong there. Let me try one more time the jar files. Maybe something is not correct. So it is giving me some error. Okay, and then this one. Okay, so so that error has gone now, which we're getting before, and it's giving me some error here. If I move my mouse pointer, it tells me that I need to import the connection class here. So I'm importing it now. Okay, and again it gives me some error. It says I need to throw a declaration because these command can give some kind of an exception. All right, so I have given the first two lines. So we only have a 4 line of code to do that. So you have to just keep some patience. So we have already done class.forName and we have already done connection with our database. Now what we are required to do, we are required to create an object of the statement. Okay, so in order to do that, I will type statement, then I can give any name here. So I can give stmt equal to, and then I can give my connection dot, and there is a method called create statement. So connection dot create statement will give me an object of the type statement. Okay, and I need to import that too, otherwise it will again give me an error. So I've given java.sql here. Okay, so I have imported statement also. And now what I have to do, because I have created a statement object, I can execute my query. Okay, so I will just give stmt dot execute query, and here I can execute my query. So query would be the same one which we have written before. So I can use a query which we have just written on that uh, page. That is select star from city where name is Kabul. So I'm doing Control C here and putting it here. Okay, so this will return me some results. So for that, I will store that into my result set. So it would be result set. Okay, result set, and I can give name as RS. All right, and it again tells me to import something, so I need to import from java.sql. Make sure whenever you're importing this thing, just import from java.sql. Don't use any other classes and other jars. Okay, just import from java.sql. Now what happened when this execute query will run, it will throw all the result into this object rs. And now I can just give any command here. If I want to just loop through all the rows, I will give here while rs dot next. Okay, so what this rs dot next will do, so it will move to the first row in the first loop. After that it will move to the second row till it has rows in that result set. So if assume it throws me 100 rows, let's assume it throws me 100 rows. So this loop will go on 100 times, and every time my pointer will go to one row next to it. Okay, so when we do that while rs.next, now we are on the first row. Okay, now once we are in the first row, I can go ahead and get any column. So there are different methods to get a column, but I will use a method called getString. Okay, So one is rs dot, okay, here it has, see, all these column which we can use, get array string, everywhere, we have to give the column index number. Okay, so there are different ways through which you can get the data. So I will use rs.getString, and I want the first column. Okay, so this is a way we can get the first column. So what is the first column which we can see? So our first column is name. Okay, so what I will do, I will store it somewhere in the name. I will create a variable my name equal to rs.getString. Okay, and in the same way, I will just get the population. So I will create a variable my population, and I will give here rs.getString, and here I will give it's 1 2 3 4 5. I will give the index 5 here. Okay, so till the time my rows are there, it will get this string. And what I will do now, I will try to print these two. So I will give system.out.println. Okay, and here I can directly give my name. All right, I will concatenate with a space, and then I will concatenate it with my population. Let me just correct the spelling here. All right, so this is my complete program. And before closing the program, I have to make sure the connection which I have made, I need to close that out. Okay, so I am closing a connection here. So let me run this first, and then I can explain you again what we have done. Okay, I'm running the application. See, so what it has given a number 1, and it has given the population. So if we see here, okay, 1 is my first column, but I wanted to print this Kabul and then population. So instead of 1, I can give 2 here. Okay, now it is printing correctly. So once I have this information with me, I can use that into my Selenium code and can, use it for the different purposes as per the requirement. So we can see what we have done here again. So we have called a command called class.forName, and under that we have to give this string so that it can load this driver. So this driver is something related to JDBC. Okay, this is not our Chrome driver or something. It's related to JDBC driver. So this driver class object get instantiated at the runtime. Okay, and after that we have made a connection through driver manager. So we have called driver manager dot connection, and we have made a connection with our database by giving ID and password and giving the URL. All right, then we have created an object of the statement type, and using that I can execute my query. So I have just given statement.execute query. I've given my query, and once you hit a query, you get some kind of result set, and we have just iterated through result set, and we have printed all this. And if you want to see the detail of all those things, what you can do, you can, for example, in connections, we can just see what this driver manager is. If you're curious about that, you just do a click and control and click on that. Okay, so it's running a bit slow, showing me in R class. All right, so this is the driver manager. Okay, and now you can see in that there is a get log writer, there is set log writer. We will not discuss about much, but we were using get connection here. Okay, so you can see different methods are there under the driver manager class. All right, and we are storing it into a connection, and we will see what it is, what connection is. Okay, so you'll see that connection is an interface and it is extending wrapper and auto closable. So if you see here, connection is an interface. This is our object which we are creating, and we are getting an object created through driver manager dot connection. And if you see this method, okay, so this method is throwing me an object of connection type. All right, the same way you can see for the statement also. Okay, so statement is also an interface. Okay, and create statement will sending is throwing me an object which of type statement. Okay, so these are all the methods which we use. So once you are, I believe from here it's very easy. We know that we have to loop through the query, which we already know. The only thing to remember is these 4 line of a code. So once you remember this 4 line of a code, then you would be able to write any program related to databases. So by practice, you will learn all these 4 commands. All right, so I hope now the connection with the database is clear, but if any feedback, just let me know. If you like the video, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so that you can get the videos instantly. All right, thank you so much.